Hi and welcome back to one of my tutorials. The last few tutorials we have looked at some of the if statements and switch statements. This tutorial we're going to learn a few new and different statements. The while, do while, for, break, continue, exit and die statements. You're probably thinking, whoa, that's a lot dude. And you're right, it is a lot. But the while, do while and for statements are all statements to create loops. I can already tell you that you probably won't understand the difference right away, but that doesn't matter. You'll learn in time. A loop is basically executing the code of the loop while the condition is true. Remember the Boolean values? Whenever it gives us back a true value, the code will keep looping until we get a false answer back. I'll show you one of the easiest loop there is. Open up the PHP editor, create a new PHP file, and follow my lead. Now, start off by making a variable called I and set it to 1. It's an unwritten rule to use I for counters, also known as index. Just keep that in the back of your head. Now write down the variable, so I, and let's set it to 1. And now write down while bracket the variable I is smaller or equal to 10. Alright, so this means equal to 10 and this means this means smaller or equal to 10. Okay, so this means smaller than 10 and this means smaller or equal to 10. Okay, now close off the bracket, use this bracket so we can use more lines of code, and then write echo our variable, the index. I then use a break, and now echo, and add one number to the index. So this basically means that the variable should add one number. So this means add 1 every time. So add 1. Alright, just remember that. Now close off the bracket, and what this does, here I'll show you if you're using interpreter. Now this basically is this variable, the index 1, will start off at 1 and then it will keep looping and echoing what it is at the moment. So while index is lower or equal than 10, echo the number. So when we start off it is 1, and break, and then after we echoed it, add a number to it. So it says right here 1 because that's the first time, then it goes back because it's still under or equal to 10, so it will say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, and then when it hits 11, the while will see that it's not equal or smaller than 10, so it will stop echoing the line of code. I hope you understand what is happening here. So first off it's 1, it echoes that it is 1 and breaks. That basically means that it goes a line beneath it, so that's why you have this effect, and then it adds a number to this. So it's 1, it goes back up, it's 2, it goes back up, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then it's 11, and it won't execute this code because it isn't smaller or equal to 10. Okay, now you have to be careful not to code an infinite loop. For an example, if you forget to type this right here to add one number, the counter or index stays 1 and the while counter is 10 or less, so it keeps echoing the variable. So what I mean is, if we forgot to type this over here, it will stay 1 forever. So it is 1, and while it is smaller than 10 or equal, it will echo the number. So it will say 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, because it doesn't turn into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 10. Do you understand? So it's important to not forget to close off a loop. Okay, because if you don't do it, it will keep going on forever. Well, not forever, it will stop after about 15 to 20 minutes with a server timeout, or it will just give one big error and shut it down. But it's important to always close a loop. Never have an infinite loop. I've never seen an example of a great infinite loop, if you know what I mean. Okay, so that's a really simple example of the while statement. Now to the next part, the do while statement. The difference between the while and do while statement is that a while loop never runs if the answer is false. Okay, so it will run when it's true. Do you see? So it's 1, so it's smaller than 10, so it will run. And it won't run if it is false. So let's say if this was 11, like so, it won't run, you see, because the answer is false, the condition is false. But a do while statement will run it once even when the condition is false, because the test of the condition won't take place until the end of the code. For an example, I'll show you. Let's remove this code or create a new PHP file, like so. Okay, and type with me. Variable a is 100. Okay. Now we say do, then open up the multiple quote bracket, echo the variable a, point, and then break, and close it off. Then say a plus plus, so add 1 every time, close it up, and say while bracket variable a is smaller or equal to 10. Okay, so now what this does is our index is 100, so do, so you have the code will echo a and break it down, then it will add 1 while a is smaller or equal to 10. Okay, so if we only use the while loop, we wouldn't get an answer like I showed you before. But with a do while statement, it will say 100 one time, and then it won't continue because it isn't smaller or equal to 10. Okay, so I'll show you. See, it only said 100 once. Now if we did something like 5, it would run, you see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But this is only useful if you want to do something in your loop even when it is false for the first time. Okay, so that's the difference between a do while and a while statement. I hope you understand the difference. Okay, so if it's 100, the condition is false, but it will echo it once anyway, because it will do this first and then check for the condition. Okay, now I hope you understand the difference and the mechanic behind these two codes. If you don't, just play around with it and try not to create an infinite loop. To make it even harder for you guys, I'm going to explain the for statement now. The for statement is basically the while statement, but it adding up to the counter index variable happens automatically. Just stick with me. I didn't understand the difference when I began learning PHP, so don't feel ashamed if you don't as well. Now create a variable that contains the multiply. I'm sorry, we have to open up a new PHP file first. Okay, so now we have to create a multiply variable. So because we're making a code that multiplies some tables. Okay, so multiply is 10. Let's do tables of 10. Our result is 0. Now this isn't necessary, but I always do this because now we can add some note to it. So this is the answer to our sum. Okay, if we can also just make this variable midway our code, but this way I always know what this variable is, because I've put it above my code with a note after it. Okay, so it isn't necessary, but I choose to do so because it's easier. You have to imagine if you're working on a big project and you have to look back at some code you made 2 weeks ago, you won't remember exactly what each variable is. So I recommend always making a note after your variables. But for now it isn't necessary, it's just a tutorial, so stick with me, okay? So now we're going to say for the I is 1, use some, and then say I is smaller than or equal to 10, I plus plus, use this bracket for multiple lines of code, result is the I variable times, okay, this symbol, it's shift 8, means multiply, okay, so result is our index, so it's 1 for the first time, result is 1 times multiply, so this will say result is 1 times 10, and then the result contains 10, because 1 times 10 is 10. Do you understand? And the code echo the variable I, the counter, times our table, multiply, oh, I'm sorry, dollar sign, multiply is the result. This is a nice sentence, right? 1 times 10 equals to result. Okay, then break it, because the answer will have multiple answers and we want to have it beneath each other. Close off the echo and the code and end the for statement. Okay, so basically what this is this is our index. So we're telling the computer that the index is 1. The condition is if the index is smaller than or equal to 10, then, and this is our condition. Okay, so that's basically what's happening in the for statement. It's a little bit different than the while statement because we're assigning everything differently. Okay, I hope you understand the difference. If you don't, just take a look at it in the description where I'll post the code and you'll figure it out. Okay, so I'll show you what this does. It will say it echoes 1 times 10 is 10. That's this right over here. The variable I is 1 when we're starting, multiplies 10, it's always 10, okay, and the result is what's this over here, so 1 times 10 is the result, okay. Then it goes another time in the loop, but it added one number, okay, so now it's 2 times 10 is 20, you can see it over here, okay. So I hope that you understand what it is doing, and you're probably wondering what loop should I use. Well, the for statement is commonly used for mathematical things. So if you want to add something or do things with math, then I recommend using the for statement. Else I would personally use the while statement. I also prefer the while statement because it is easier to see what's exactly happening, but they're both great to use, so just make your own decision. Now to continue, I will explain the statement break and continue. We already seen the break statement in the switch statement tutorial, but I want to show you that you can also use the loops to end infinite loops or even normal loops. It doesn't matter, it will always break. So I'll show you. Let's make another index. N is 1. Now while 1 also stands for true, remember? So while true, use this bracket for multiple lines of code. While the N variable equals to 10, multiple lines of code, echo this loop is broken because it reached 10, close it off, break. Okay, now close this off and add 1 to n every time and close this off. Okay, so what this is doing, it's 1, and while true, if n is equal to 10, say this loop is broken because it reached 10. So here we created an infinite loop on purpose. I hope you understand why. Just look at the code and examine it. So even when the loop is infinite, it checks the if statement of the value n. So when this variable reaches the value of 10, the loop will stop, and it will echo the text, this loop is broken because it reached 10. So when the loop reached the index 10, so when the index reached 10, it will break out of the loop on purpose. Okay, so now I hope you understand what the break does. If you don't, also check out the last tutorial with the break, the switch statement, where I'm also using the break statement. Now to continue, we're going to use the continue statement. The continue statement actually skips the rest of a loop if some condition is true. Now let's type another piece of code. Open up a new PHP file and type the variable table. I'm not sure if that's the English word for multiplying things, but just type table anyway, just for fun. Okay, table is 10, then for I, so this is our index, is 1, and then we're going to type our condition, smaller than or equal to 10. Sorry, I forgot the y. Like so, and add some numbers to the y. Okay, like so. And open up the bracket for multiple lines of code. If variable I. Okay, this is something I really never understood, but percentage symbol and the 2. It's called, I believe it's called modulo, and we're checking for even or uneven numbers. So an exclamation mark means not. So if it's not 0, okay, close it off, then continue and close this off again. Then echo the y times table equals and plus e times table, close this, plus, and then break. Okay, do you also know why I'm putting this between quotation mark? That's because it's HTML. This basically makes this HTML. That's why I don't use quotation marks when I'm only using a variable, but I do when I use text. Okay, so this activates HTML. Do you understand? So this is a HTML tag, and I want to use it, so I put it between quotation marks. Okay, I hope you understand. Close off this line of code and close off the for. Okay, now table is 10. This is our the index, condition, and the statement. Oh no, not the statement. This adds up. This is our condition. So if it is even, continue, echo the index times the table is, and then plus this plus that. Okay, so this actually is adding these full things together, these three things. So it's saying this, and then it pastes this behind it. As you can see, these are only variables, and this is in PHP. This is HTML because I put quotation marks around it, and this is HTML again, so it will put this on one line, if you understand. So this actually pastes all these parts together. Okay, I hope you understand. If you don't, just leave a comment and I'll try to explain better. Now if we run this code, it should only do this for the even numbers, because we did that over here. Now view using interpreter, and as you can see, 1 is an uneven number, so it continues, it skips over that piece of code, and then it says 2 times 10 is 20, 4 times 10 is 40, 6 times 10 is 60, 8 times 10 is 80, 10 times 10 is 100. Okay, so that's because it's only checking, it's only echoing if it's an uneven number, skip it, continue. Okay, so that's what the continue statement does. I hope you understand. So I'll try to explain the modulo operator. So here it checks if the remaining part of the index y, if you divide it by 2, and then it checks if it's even to 0. If it's not, the index is an uneven number, and then it will skip. Okay, I hope you understand, because this is pretty confusing part, but it basically checks if the rest of the index y divided by 2 is equal to 0, and if it's not, then it's an uneven number like 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. Then it continues, so it skips that part. Okay, so I hope you understand, because it's a pretty hard piece of code to understand. Well, it is in my opinion. If you do understand modulo operators, then it shouldn't be a problem at all. Okay, now I'm going to explain the statement exit and die, the last two statements of this tutorial. I hope you're not falling asleep yet, but I'm going to explain it anyway, because then we have had everything you can have in a loop. Well, not everything, but the biggest and commonly used statements for and with a loop. Now I hope you understand that the statements break and continue are there to interrupt or skip these loops. Okay, but it only skips it once, or a part of it. But what if you need to interrupt the entire script? Okay, then we have the statement exit and die. The statements exit and die are exactly the same, but die sounds cooler, so I always use die. Okay, you can use both of them, it really doesn't matter, but both exit and die support a string as a parameter, so you can write a string to the screen right before ending your program or script. So that way you can quickly echo some sort of error message or whatever. Now these last two statements are commonly used as some sort of backup net, if you know what I mean. You use exit or die in your code, but you're hoping that they'll never get used. Do you understand? They're only useful if something goes wrong, and you don't want that your code goes wrong. But if something goes wrong, you want it to happen in a good way. That sounds kind of contradicting, but if something goes wrong, let's say you're riding on a motorcycle, you're not supposed to fall, but if you fall, you're wearing a helmet. So you can see the exit and die statement as a helmet or protection. Okay. Now this tutorial has taken 26 minutes so far, so it's by far the longest tutorial I've made. but I hope you could follow all of these statements, because it is a lot of information. If you don't understand a few of these things, just leave a comment and I'll explain. The while statement is by far the easiest one, I think, in my opinion. Then we have the do while. This is basically the while statement, but it will run once even if the condition is false. Then we have the for statement. This is commonly used for mathematical things. Then we have the break, which we already used before. The continue, which is sort of like the break, but it skips one line of code. Well, not one line of code, it skips one thingy. Okay, now I'm making it harder than it actually is. And then we have the die and the exit statement, which are there for backup. Okay, so I hope you've learned something in this tutorial. Please comment, rate and subscribe. If you don't want me to create long tutorials like these, also leave a comment. If you do want long tutorials like these, leave a comment as well, but please explain what you prefer, so I can make my tutorials better for you next time. Okay? My next tutorial will be about functions. I'll explain what functions are, what they do, and I'll show you a few functions. I'm also wondering if you would like me to give you an assignment to try yourself at home, because I'm only showing you some of these crappy pieces of code. But would you like me to give some sort of, let's say I tell you to create a program and I'll show you the answer or how to code it in my next video. If you like something like that, so I'm actually giving you some sort of assignment, leave a comment. Just leave a comment on parts you would like to see improvement on. Well, again, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in my next tutorial about functions. Bye.